Good morning. Thanks, Roland. Dear Commissioner Gabriel, dear colleagues, dear innovators, dear friends of science and innovation, Commissioner Mariya Gabriel, we are very pleased that you have decided to use an inclusive and participatory approach to prepare this innovation area. This manifesto that we are handling today and hand over to Commissioner Gabriel is not a conclusive paper, is not a complete vision, is instead a dynamic and living document, an open call for ideas. We are building with this manifesto and with this website and with the events that we are going to organize an open space for debates that can become an important source of information for Commissioner Gabriel and her services for the preparation of the innovation area. We have outlined 8 key focus areas directly concerned with the Europeans' main ambitions and main policy targets.
Dear Roland, dear members of the European Parliament, ladies and gentlemen, that's a great pleasure for me to see so much familiar faces. Dear Maria, dear Lina, dear Susanna, Brando, Svetelina, dear Victor, and I see Gian Piero and Bernd. Thank you so much for this important key moment. That's for me a great pleasure, and I would like to start saying by saying big thank you to Knowledge for Innovation Forum of the European Parliament for running such an interesting and impactful virtual meeting. Indeed, Europe has already the talent, inspiration, and capacity to grow innovative companies with high impact solutions for boosting high qualified jobs, ensuring European leadership in the digital and green transformation, and shaping a more sustainable future. Therefore, we need to continue investing in Europe's innovation potential. And that is why today's event and the manifesto of the Knowledge for Innovation Forum on the European innovation area are so important, because it gives us the opportunity to empower and collaborate with key innovation stakeholders in order to provide solutions to our current health, economic, ecological, and societal challenges. I aim to complete the knowledge triangle by connecting the new European innovation area with the European research and the European education area. In particular, we are looking at synergies between different European programs, such as Maria da Graça Carvalho mentioned them, the European Innovation Council, the European Institute of Innovation and Technology, the European University Alliances, or the joint roadmaps between academia and industry involving startups and investors. And this is only a few examples. I think new. I take this manifesto that you are handing over to me today as a valuable input on this process to build a true pan-European innovation ecosystem to make Europe the global powerhouse for startups.
As members of the European Parliament involved in this Knowledge for Innovation Forum, we are very glad that the Commission is studying ideas to start this journey, as you were saying, this European innovation area. We have to link it with the industrial strategy, with the ERA, the partnership and missions in Horizon Europe, and other initiatives, as the Commissioner Gabriel was saying, the EIT are important. But we have also to link with a main policy within the European Union, which is all the gender mainstreaming. And for that, I think the European Innovation Area Manifesto comes also in a very timely. Women entrepreneurs receive only 2% of financing available, figure that has dropped with the pandemic to only 1%, and that only 4 of VC have a female majority, and only 0.5 of this venture capital women-led. To put it simple, there needs to be more women investors, more funding to women-led VCs, and more investment in women-led startups and entrepreneurs.
Yes, so good morning, everybody. Dear Commissioner Gabriel, good to see you again, and dear members of the European. Indeed, I would like to mention synthetic cell research, also called bottom-up synthetic biology, as a typical example of deep tech. Because being able to understand and to replicate the workings of cell is indeed one of the great scientific challenges of our time, an exciting international field of research, but it is at the same time the key to revolutionary new technologies based on this mimicking of natural processes. Imagine that instead of modifying existing cells like we do now, we could build them from scratch, from basic molecular components. And with that knowledge, we could build new materials that are 100% reusable, or that can heal themselves when damaged, or we can produce clean fuels. This can lead to a revolution in sustainable energy, in smart biomaterials, food and medicine. And the good news is, it may be achieved in the coming years. Europe is leader in the field of bottom-up synthetic biology. Thanks to ERC funding and national initiatives, scientists in chemistry, physics and biology from 18 European countries are world leading in working on specific aspects of building a synthetic cell. At TU Delft, it was already mentioned, and indeed our Department of Bio-Nanoscience is co-leading this network of excellent European research laboratories. It is called the European Synthetic Cell Initiative. It is clear that we are now at a tipping point. If sufficiently funded, progress in this area in the coming 5 to 20 years will position Europe as the leader in this scientific and technological revolution. But they need now to upscale to a European level to be able to bring together all this knowledge and make this scientific and technological breakthrough possible. This is not possible at the scale of a single institute or even at the scale of a single country. A coordinated European approach is needed. An effort by research and industry at the European level is key to make this happen, and the European Union Commission is cordially invited to support this effort. It is of essential importance that the RISE in Europe invests to build further along this road towards innovation for Europe's autonomy and industrial sovereignty.
This, of course, manifesto, we show our willingness, of course, to strive for change and to push for a continuous improvement of what is happening at European level. What we are trying to construct, what we are launching basically with this manifesto, is this idea that we need to move further in the implementation of European policies by identifying new links, new synergies that can generate innovation. And those links need to unite, of course, different ecosystems. Of course, I think Knowledge for Innovation is an excellent platform to speak about this new idea of creating an innovation area. We can do that by promoting entrepreneurship education in schools. We can do that by helping universities developing innovation hubs where they can offer students access to facilities, technologies, but also mentorship. We can do that by sponsoring, financing, offering grants to universities to develop research, but also develop products and services. We can do that by investing more in the training of teachers and professors in universities. We can do that by showing that we can build a European innovation ecosystem by helping universities working together from different member states. And I have to mention this again as well. We don't need to copy the Silicon Valley model. We have our own model. The idea is to transform Europe in a Silicon Valley. And this Silicon Valley is what we are saying in the manifesto, is this European innovation area. This can be our Silicon Valley that is broader than a simple region. It can be and introduce the entire European Union. And a key element, in my opinion, in this regard, is how we are using the recovery plans in order to generate these ecosystems and these synergies between the different instruments existing with regards to innovation. So I think one of the key elements that we can introduce, Roland and Maria, if you agree, in the future, is also to speak about how this manifesto that we are launching today, that we are presenting today to the Commissioner, basically, how this manifesto can be a useful tool also in convincing member states to create synergies between the recovery plans.
I think there are two key takeaways from the lessons we have learned from the crisis. The first one is the important role that R&D has in building modern and resilient economies. And that's why I would like to use this forum once again to voice out that reaching the 3% expenditure of the GDP for innovation in all member states is no more important than ever. So as stated in the manifesto, this divide between lower and higher performing regions not only reduces the EU's overall R&D potential, but also poses a serious threat to economic growth, cohesion, and global competitiveness. And this takes me to the second point. We cannot leave anyone behind. And for the first time, the EU and all its member states have understood the importance of working together towards a joint recovery. As you mentioned, and Victor mentioned before, the next generation EU package has the potential of being the driver of change for the future generation. But despite the importance of the recovery package, we must not forget cohesion policy. Because by implementing adequate policies in education, research, and innovation through cohesion policy, the European Union helps underperforming regions to further develop their innovation ecosystems.
EIT Raw Materials is driving innovation, education, and entrepreneurship across the European industrial ecosystems, and we provide a collaborative environment for disruptive and breakthrough innovations by connecting business with academia, research, and investment. On the level of education and entrepreneurship, EIT Raw Materials is leading the HEI initiative. This is a major new EIT program which will transform from higher education institutions into engines of innovation. The aim here is to reach 750 HEIs across Europe. We know that universities are central to regional innovation ecosystems. This initiative will therefore support them with expertise and coaching. But we are also quite active on the level of the green transition, and EIT Raw Materials develops raw and advanced materials into major strength for Europe. Without them, we will have no electric vehicles or charging infrastructure, no wind turbines, and no solar panels. EIT Raw Materials warmly welcomes the European Innovation Area, which we are excited to support. We firmly believe that Europe can become more competitive in connecting education with innovation, technology, and entrepreneurship across Europe to create jobs and realize the European Green Deal.
Europe is on the verge of economic and societal transition, which is definitely going to be driven by the technological and green transition. And we need to do our best to boost that and to create the best opportunities for it to be successful. It's crucial for us to keep investing in innovation, but at the same time, we should also keep up with the regulatory framework, which is quite needed to create the right environment for that. In terms of the green transition and how we could achieve that, Europe has set up to be the leader in terms of promoting the regulation for the fight against climate change. We were the first political entity that set up the proper regulation on that matter. And we've seen that a lot of the big economic powers started to follow us on that. So we've already achieved our leadership position. But now is the moment that we shouldn't be remaining only the leader in the regulatory environment. We should also enable our industries to achieve that green transition in the best way possible. It's very clear that the two important priorities of the European Union, the technological and the digital transition and the green transition, they go hand by hand, and they're definitely inseparable. In terms of the objective we need to set ahead of us is that we need to achieve a fair and green economic growth with social inclusion and business competitiveness.
Moving to a more sustainable economy, the role of education in shaping innovation, the role of women in the innovation process, fostering innovation cohesion between European member states, making sure we create the right conditions for European innovation ecosystems to grow and thrive. These are all fundamental steps in order to guarantee a fair and just transition. We need to break any taboo and to be able to design a regulation that can indeed guide and enable these processes of change, establishing clear frameworks, providing legal certainty and a level playing field for businesses on one end, and ensuring the respect of fundamental rights and freedoms on the other end. What we are striving for is a framework for AI that puts people at the center, the human-centric artificial intelligence. The manifesto is our outline for a new model for innovation in this sense. And I'm happy that also Commissioner Gabriel could be here today with us to also signify the attention and the importance that the Commission gives to this process and to our ideas coming from the work of Knowledge for Innovation.
In Europe, we have 4 cornerstones to build the next generation digital industry. The first cornerstone is the tech and digital sovereignty. The second cornerstone is to support the fundraising and give to European startups the possibility to grow faster and to deep tech companies the time to go to market. The creation of at least a 100 billion fund with public and private money is the way to facilitate this roadmap. The third cornerstone is the small valley model. It is ready as network, needs to be highlighted and supported, for example, with a set of rules that can speed up the collaboration between university, research centers, startups, factories, and local governments. A European ecosystem is the final goal, the fourth cornerstone. The European Innovation Area is the perfect environment to achieve these goals. This is the challenge that we as Unicorn Group invite the EU to achieve.
There's only kind of, if we look Europe as one country, there's only like 2 countries that have kind of more populations than the EU, and that's kind of India and China, and we are ahead with a margin on the rest one. So what it means is that we actually have already a great place where new ideas can be born, and where we can test them. However, we have put ourselves kind of internal hurdles how we can kind of access the European market. So idea would be kind of born in any of the European countries, but if we want to kind of scale it up, test it out, there are like so much kind of fragmentation, so much kind of different requirements, permissions that are needed in each country. We need to implement it like companies in these industries can work in EU as kind of in one playground, as one sandbox, and not to have like 27 different confirmations necessary from different member states. And again, that's kind of practically doable by kind of putting the right institutions in charge of that. And in that way, we can kind of increase the speed of innovations, which is crucial. And coming myself from the finance field, we also see there's kind of lot of spillover effect. So actually, nowadays, there's so much money in the economy. The problem is that, well, it's not distributed where it is necessary. And with help of innovations in financial technologies, we can also make that work, and we can kind of channel that money to kind of new innovative areas and help both kind of new companies to start, as well as kind of grow our own big companies in Europe. The other point I wanted to touch upon was about talent. As a part of Unicorn Group, we believe, well, we need to make the process much, much faster.